puzzling things for me has always been that as a state, our budget is huge. We have a lot of money, and yet to see people coming from other places, companies especially, are providing services from other from other places, other countries, other states, when right here we have so many people out of work, so many people who need work, and so many things going unattended to, when, like you just said, they can be addressed right here at home.
You know, and it's important you make that point, because think about this for a second. Over the last 20 years, upwards of 90% of the jobs that have been created have been in places that we can't outsource. So a lot of it's happened in government, the medical industry, but the question is going to be, how do we get back to full employment without a manufacturing base? Because what's going on is that economists, research people are putting out reports that are saying we're not going to be able to get back to full employment unless we have some source of manufacturing jobs here in this community. If you look at a company like Apple, where are they expanding? They're expanding in China. They're building their iPods in China. They're building their iPads in China. And what we're seeing is, as the manufacturing process gets more complex, the research and development jobs, the jobs that we supposedly covet here in the state of California, particularly in Northern California, have the potential to be moved closer to the manufacturing process, which more and more with these companies here, with more and more of these companies here in Northern California that have these manufacturing bases are moving offshore, and now they're going to be taking the research and potentially taking the research and development jobs with them. And so what are we going to do? The question is, with that backdrop, what are we going to do as a state to encourage manufacturing? Because it's going to be difficult for us to get an employment rate down without that happening. I believe that we can do it by insourcing infrastructure projects, particularly transportation infrastructure projects, where there are going to be billions and billions of dollars over the next 20 years to rebuild our state's infrastructure, which is falling apart.
Wow. One of the things that I have always looked at, the whole world comes to the Bay Area. It's in some way or another. Everybody on the planet who's capable of coming here comes here, and they visit here by way of now the internet, pictures, postcards, or whatever. To have such a popular position with the entire world, it seems like that there really is a lot that can be done to shift how we're doing business today, to shift where we do business at, and to really kind of bring the whole state, if you will, up to a standard of living that I just don't think it's been as complex as people have probably turned it out, or maybe invested in making it look like it's so complex when it's really not.
Well, Gloria, I think the question is appropriate. I think it's a good question, because what it goes to is that we don't have a plan. Other countries, you look at China, you look at Germany, you look at India, they have a coordinated plan on how they're going to support a manufacturing base in their countries. And we in America, both on a federal, state, local level, need to come up with a similar plan to support manufacturing and to support job creation here in this community and here in this state. The federal government, President Obama, is calling for a plan, which I hope that we embrace, that our country embraces. But we need to think, as a state of California, what is our plan to support manufacturing here in this state? What incentives are we going to give for people to encourage people to open up a manufacturing plant here in this community? What incentives are we going to give people to make sure that these startup companies, high-tech companies, are going to continue to be in the Bay Area and continue to be here in the Bay Area and continue to move, not just from the peninsula, not just to the South Bay, but up the East Bay corridor into Hayward, into San Leandro, into Oakland, in areas where they haven't been so far.
Sure.
So, as an elected official I can truly say that we haven't done enough to think about developing a comprehensive plan, state, local, and a local level, to make sure that we're doing as much as possible to put people to work, to set the foundation that makes it a lot easier for people to start businesses, to create jobs, to put people to work, and that's what I'm truly focused on.
You just actually gave me the perfect opportunity to talk to you about your background. I know that you've done a lot of work with startups, and as a lawyer, you work in contract law. Is that correct? So I know that you have been on the front line for a lot of the startup work or startup businesses that are in existence today in the East Bay.
Well, I've worked with a whole host of startup companies coming out of Silicon Valley. I was working in Silicon Valley, one of the major law firms down there. So I got a chance to interact with a lot of people starting great technology companies, a whole host, whether it's alternative energy, biotech, web, social media. So I got a chance to see that, and I also got a chance to work with some of the people funding these companies, to bring to light, the Facebooks of the world, the Googles of the world, and that sort of thing. And what they will say, is, if they are going to continue to do work here in the state of California, we have to have legislation and we have to have laws in place that support their efforts, because we can't take for granted that they are going to continue to want to do work here in the Bay Area, here in Silicon Valley. We can't take that for granted, because there are a whole host of states, there are a whole host of countries, namely India and China, and in Eastern Europe, that are competing for their dollars and competing and trying to lure these companies over there.
Wow.
And so, we have had a significant amount of success over the last 40 years, particularly in Northern California, on the peninsula area, of getting people to start their businesses here. So we've seen the Intels, the Apples, the Googles, the Facebooks. But the question is going to be, how are we going to continue to keep those companies here, because it's vitally important. And more importantly, how are we going to get those companies to now move over to Oakland, to now move over to San Leandro, in the areas with which I'm trying to represent in the state assembly? Because what we've seen so far, there are few startup venture-backed companies here in San Leandro, few of them in Oakland, and we have great infrastructure, we have great communities, we have everything that's needed in order to attract these companies here. And so how are we going to do that is a key question that our community leaders, elected officials, and business leaders have to ask ourselves and come up with a plan to bring that together.